everyone, it's Anne coming to you from my angel chair. This little wingback chair that somebody pointed out one time kind of looks like angel wings, which I love, especially because the topic of this little video is about spiritual leadership. And what do I mean? I've been talking more and more about serving spiritual leaders and working with spiritual leaders and trying to bring out spiritual leaders in our world. So what the heck do I even mean by that? Because I think a lot of people have that stereotype, the spiritual leader is like either for better or for worse, like the guru figure, like literally the leader of a religion, or super high up like the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader, a very prominent spiritual leader. And I met many of those people. I think I would include clearly under the umbrella of how I'm thinking, but for me it goes way broader than that and goes way beyond sort of the boundaries of a particular religion or even way of talking about things spiritual. So I would define spiritual leader as someone who is guided by spirit, whatever that means to them. And spirit, not some external written tenets, or I've got to do right and follow these external laws, but really a sense of like what is my interpersonal connection to that bigger place of guidance. And this is where language gets tricky, right? Because some people are really clear that's God, that's what they mean when they talk about God, and some people are like, God's got too much baggage, I don't even want to use that word. But I'll talk about, if you're in Abraham Hicks land, you'll talk about my inner being, or you'll talk about spirit, or you'll talk about source, or you'll talk about sort of just my inner knowing, or my inner wisdom, or my higher self, or that thing that you feel it when you're connected to it, and you express and you live differently when you're connected to it, that thing that is kind of always there and in you and in everyone and everything. That's, to me, call that spirit or call it whatever you want. But when I talk about a spiritual leader, it's somebody who first and foremost is aware of that personally and oriented toward that, and wanting to be connected to that and wanting to express that out in the world in whatever way it feels right to them to do. So, often that manifests in ministry, in some sort of religious role. But also, I was thinking, that can be a spiritual leader's masquerade, right? Is all, and I say that very lightly, but they're found in so many different places. So like, I think of certain teachers that my kids have had. They're spiritual leaders masquerading as teachers, or they're living out their life in this role of teacher, but there's something so much deeper going on in how they're thinking and what they're bringing and who they're being and what they are aspiring to for their role and for their students. So you find spiritual leaders all through the school system. Not everybody in the school system is a spiritual leader, right? But some are, and there's this sense of there's something special happening there. Spiritual leaders are found. The example that came to me this morning is somebody maybe will remember this better than me and have a reference that they can share. But I'm remembering years and years ago, there was I think there was like a recording of a 911 call, and there was a kid who came into a school with a gun, right, and was going to shoot up the school. One of those that's happening so often, it seems. But there was this school secretary who basically is talking this kid down, and he didn't shoot anybody, is what I recall. And it was this sense of spiritual groundedness in whatever's in front of me. I'm not reacting to. I'm reacting to something and engaging with you, a part of you that's different than what you're expressing right now. I am calling to sort of the bigger need that you have, the bigger desire that you have, the bigger person that you are. And I remember her saying things like, you don't want to do this. You really don't. There's something else that you need, and really speaking to that part of that human being. And so I think, that's a spiritual leader. So that's a spiritual leader manifesting as a secretary or administrative assistant, whatever her role was, right? Spiritual leaders manifest as janitors. I'm remembering a janitor at a place where I worked who just had that lightness about him, and everywhere he went, he was sort of bringing joy to people, and using his role as an opportunity to to make people's lives a little bit better wherever he found himself, you know. And you've, I mean, I could go on and on. There's spiritual leaders in government. There's spiritual leaders in healthcare, you know, masquerading as doctors and nurses and therapists and coaches, and I could go on and on and on. So it's really not so much about the role, but it's about what is underneath, not even underneath the role, but what is underneath the human being that that they're connected to. And so I would consider a spiritual leader. You don't have to use particular words to define what it is that you're really connecting to, but this sense of, I know it when I feel it, and often I know it when I see it, you know, whether I'm resonating with somebody's, maybe it's the just the lightness in their face, or the presence that they carry, or just the way that they are in the world. There's this sense of like something bigger and more interesting is going on with this person, and that is really what I'm hoping to find in the people more and more that I'm looking to pull together, because it's one because I love these people. I love you people, and also because I think the world's really calling for more people to step into that, and to be looking not towards sort of what are we seeing out there that has to control us and has to be the truth, but like what's happening in here and in us that wants to be created and wants to be brought forth, using the gifts that we've been given, using our particular personalities and our, you know, both our strengths and our weaknesses and everything. Like, how this prayer, like, God, use me, how can you use me to serve this world, and to serve this experience that I've been placed in. So again, you don't have to use that language, but if there's a feeling in that yeah, oh yeah, I've had that, I feel that, I pray that, I want that, then you count, you know, in my definition of spiritual leader, and you belong here. And I hope that you will find some way to be connected with me and with this Gift of Happiness community as it evolves, in whatever way works for you. I would really love to be connected, stay connected with you. Hopefully that's helpful. Take care.